But Bobby is the descendant of the Bobby of old. And he is now a supervisor in a company that produces iron. And he has hired this young man, George, into the company. And George begins to earnestly pursue his career as an iron worker. He's going to learn how to do all the ins and outs of the business. And Bobby likes him, because George is a personable guy. Laughs easily. He's the kind of guy that you like. You know what I mean? And so Bobby likes him a lot. And he keeps telling him, oh, you're doing great. You're doing fantastic. Keep going. And George learns to do his job really, really well, at least in his mind. He learns where every weld goes on the things that he builds. He learns how to operate every piece of machinery. He learns how to weld. He learns how to cut. He learns how to hammer and bend steel and iron and all the things that are required. His work isn't so good. I mean, compared to somebody else's. If we take a minor chandelier made of iron and another one, and in this ironworks company they're all designed the same way, one of them will be better than the other. Would you agree? Consistently, the stuff that George makes is the last thing on the shelf. It's the last thing to purchase. People will go through the shelf and they'll pick everybody else's stuff first. And if they do buy it, it's because it was the last thing available and that's just what they needed. It's not really all that hot. But George doesn't know this because he never interacts with the customer. George interacts with Bobby. Bobby doesn't even interact with the customer because Bobby's just a supervisor. His father, who now owns the company, Tony, another descendant of Bobby, right? So now Bobby doesn't interact with the company, with the customer. Somebody else does. Tony. Tony interacts with the customers, and all he knows is, yeah, that wasn't a great piece. That's all. These other pieces were good. That one's not so much. Mark that one on sale. So now what you have is a blacksmith who thinks he's fantastic, who isn't. And we have a really interesting question. Whose fault is that? Who failed? George. Bobby? Or Bobby's supervisor? Who should determine whether Bobby is a sound performer or whether Bobby should seek employment elsewhere?